Arsenal's midfield has evolved under Mikel Arteta, but one name you might not have had in mind this summer was Nørgaard. The former Brentford captain has quietly built a reputation as a rock-solid defender, and when Thomas Partey failed to reach an agreement with the club over a new contract, Arsenal moved swiftly and signed Nørgaard from Brentford. So what exactly will Norgaard bring to the Emirates? Let's break it down. Stay tuned. Welcome to All About Arsenal. I'm your host Tony, and in today's video we're going to speak about Nørgaard, who has just moved from Brentford to Arsenal. We'll touch on his career overview, we'll touch on his strengths, look at his potential weaknesses, and how he fits in to the Arsenal Football Club. Norgaard is a 31-year-old Danish international footballer who has been central to Brentford's rise and stability in the Premier League. He actually joined Brentford when they were still in the Championship, and in his first season for them, he played 45 out of 46 league games in that division. He also played one more season in the Championship with them before they now progressed to the Premier League. And for the past 4 to 5 seasons, Brentford has now become a mainstay in the Premier League, and Norgaard had a very big role to play in that. However, he began his career in Lyngby in the Danish First Division before he moved to Hamburger SV in Germany. However, he didn't get playing time in Hamburg at all, and after 2 seasons in their second team, Norgaard moved to Fiorentina. Unfortunately, his time at Fiorentina was also cut short because he spent just 1 season there. But he got his redemption when he went back to Brøndby. In Brøndby, a certain Thomas Frank was a head coach back then. Norgaard played for 5 seasons in Brøndby, making 145 appearances and scoring 11 goals. But he rose to prominence when he moved to Brentford to reunite with the former Brøndby head coach Thomas Frank. And in Brentford, Norgaard played 196 games and he scored 13 goals. So we're going to start with Norgaard's strengths, and we can look no further than his defensive positioning. First and foremost, Norgaard is an elite defensive screen. He reads danger very quickly, and he always positions himself superbly to cut in between lines. This is the kind of profile that Arsenal has lacked several times in games. A disciplined players who can sit deep and protect the back four when the team rushes forward. We had that in Thomas Partey, but that was in the early part of his career with us. Towards the tail end of Partey's time with Arsenal, that defensive screen was no longer there, but Arsenal struggled a lot in transition. Partey didn't just have the agility to protect the back line when things were really tense for us. And more times than not, Arsenal considered some kind of goal that they were not expected to. So having a player like Norgaard is going to be very important because he makes a lot of interceptions, he makes a lot of blocks, a lot of clearances, and that will give the team the confidence, to go ahead without even thinking twice of coming back. He's just someone that's the main he's going to be, who can actually serve as a single pivot in defense. Another strength of Norgaard is his passing range. He's not as glamorous on the ball as maybe Declan Rice or Rodri, but Norgaard's passing is efficient and underrated. He keeps things ticking, he moves the ball well into wide areas, and is not afraid to make progressive passes when the space opens up. His ability to break a pass with a quick touch is very invaluable to teams that sit back. In his time at Brentford, Norgaard was one of the players that had the most progressive passes in the Premier League, and not just because he's not as flamboyant as the aforementioned names, he was not being recognized for it. Although those that look at the stats can actually attest to the fact Norgaard is one of the best ball progressing players in the league. Another key trait that Norgaard has is his leadership and mentality. Obviously, we are aware that Norgaard was actually the captain of Brentford at the time he left the club, and is respected for his calmness and work ethic. Arsenal is a team that is filled up with a lot of young players, and his experience and vocal presence can help maintain those standards that we have set in the team. It's very difficult matches. So basically, he will be like another Jorginho to the club because he's actually coming in the same age profile that Jorginho joined Arsenal when he was in Chelsea. And Norgaard is someone that is necessary to play much games, but he's expected to, maintain those values that are expected of an Arsenal player. So let's talk about his weaknesses and some potential concerns I have of him. Every player has limitations, no doubt. Even the best players in the world have their limitations. Someone like Messi now is renowned to be one of the goats of this world, but he's not really good with his head, So that's just one of those things. And Norgaard is not different. One key issue I have with Norgaard is the fact that he's not a mobile midfielder. When he comes up against very fast and traditional teams, he can be exposed in open space. Can you remember that tackle he gave Martinelli last season? Basically, his lack of speed was exposed in that exact moment, and he actually had no choice but to sight him down. So this will be a concern for me, which means that he will need someone like a Declan Rice or a Merino next to him to offer some additional protection in midfield because of the fact that he's not mobile. He also doesn't carry much goal threat. However, he is quite good in the air. He's one of those players that can actually position himself well to knock the ball into the back of the net, but he's not someone that we should expect much goals from. In 196 games for Brentford, he scored only 13 goals. Although he scored 6 last season though, which was pretty much his personal best as a footballer. He also plays the structured system, which will have athletic players around Norgaard. Those weaknesses can be managed. If you have someone like Declan Rice alongside him, or someone like Merino, or someone like Eze, these guys are able to give that mobile presence while he may be static, but he makes up for it with his good football IQ. So what will be his role under Arteta? I would expect him to take the Jorginho role, where he will serve as a backup to Martin Zubimendi, come in those games where we need to kill off matches or protect the back line. But I would expect him to start in maybe the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, maybe 1 or 2 Developer Champions League games. But he's someone that would actually, spend more time on the bench than he actually would start. So I'm guessing that, just like how Jorginho played in the final time at Arsenal, I would expect that Norgaard will just take that same role and he will do it gracefully. Anytime he's on the pitch and has the opportunity to play, he will do his best to protect the back line with his experience. But I will not expect him to start much games. So in summary, Christian Norgaard is not the headline-grabbing name that some fans expected. But he's reliable, he's intelligent, and most importantly, he's proven in the Premier League. If Arsenal wants depth, for especially defensive midfielder, Norgaard will be the low-risk signing. And you can see how we went about it. Norgaard was probably not even in the books. As I were applying to renew Partey's contract. However, the party failing to remain in the club, as I needed to ask Swift. It was a case of either getting a youngster like Mikel Arteta from Sevilla or getting an experienced lad. And I'm very happy that we chose this option because Norgaard is someone that will spend quality time with us, instill his work ethic and calmness in the team, and anytime he's deployed on the pitch, we can have the assurance that he'll give us 110%. So what do you think? Is Norgaard a good addition to Arsenal's midfield? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you don't miss any of our Arsenal content. Thanks for watching, and as always, come on, Midfielders.